Good morning, students. Today we are discussing about the topic name is structure of tooth. The topic name is structure of tooth. The tooth has to the three parts. The tooth has to the three parts. The three parts name is crown, neck, and root. Tooth have to the three parts name is crown, neck, and root. Next, the crown is a exposed part of the tooth. It is a exposed part of the tooth is known as crown. And the middle part of the tooth is known as neck. The inner part of the tooth is a root. In this root is embedded into the socket of jawbone. It is embedded into the socket of jawbone. It is the tooth has to the three parts: crown, neck, and root. These three parts is consist of the tooth. Crown is the exposed part of the tooth. Neck is the middle part of the tooth. And the root is the inner part of the tooth. In this root is embedded into the socket of the jawbone. Embedded into the socket of jawbone. Finally, the tooth is have to the three parts: crown, neck, and root. Crown is the exposed part of the tooth. Neck is the middle part of the tooth. And the root is the inner part of the tooth. In this root is embedded into the socket of jawbone. Now, the total formation of the tooth is formed by the dentine. It is a hard material. The total of tooth is formed by the hard material name is dentine. The total of the tooth is formed by the hard material name is dentine. Hard material name is dentine. In this dentine is secreted by the cells is a odontoblast cells. The secret name is odontoblast cells. The dentine is secreted by the which cells? Odontoblast cells. The total of the tooth is formed by the hard material name is dentine. In this dentine is secreted by the cells is odontoblast cells. Odontoblast cells. In this odontoblast cells is derived from the mesodermal origin. It is derived from the mesodermal origins. It is derived from the mesodermal origins. First of all, the tooth has to the three parts named crown, neck, and root. Crown is the exposed part of the tooth, and neck is the middle part of the tooth, and the root is the inner part of the tooth. Next, the total of the tooth is formed by the hard material name is dentine. In this dentine is secreted by the which cells? Odontoblast cells. In this odontoblast cells is derived from the mesodermal origins. Mesodermal origins. It is a dentine. Next, in this dentine of the crown is covered by the enamel. The dentine of the crown is covered by the enamel. It is covered by the name is enamel. Enamel is the hardest substance in our body. Enamel is the hardest substance. It is a hardest substance. Hardest substance. It is a 2 marks question. So, which part are the hardest substance in our body? So, the hardest substance's body name is enamel. Is the part name is enamel. So the dentine of the crown is covered by the enamel. In this enamel, it is a hardest substances in our body. In our body. Next, in this enamel is secreted by the cells name is amyloblast cells. The secreted to the cells name is amyloblast cells. Amyloblast cells. ameloblast cells. The dentin is secreted by the cells name is odontoblast cells. The enamel is secreted by the cells is ameloblast cells. Ameloblast cells. So in this ameloblast cells is derived from the ectodermal origins. Ectodermal origin. So the ameloblast cells is derived from the ectodermal origin. It is a 2 marks question. Which substances in our hardest body? Next, which cells is which organs is secreting to the enamel? So the hardest substances in our body is enamel. In this enamel is secreted by the organs is ectodermal organs. In this ectodermal organs derived to the cells is ameloblast cells. Now we are observed to the inner part of the tooth. There is present to the cavity like structures. Cavity like structures. Cavity means empty places. Now we are observed to the inner part of the tooth. There is present to the cavity like structures. In this cavity is known as pulp cavity. It is a pulp cavity. In this pulp cavity totally filled with pulp. Pulp means like odontoblast cells, blood vessels, nerves. These are totally filled with the pulp cavity. Next, the remaining of the root. In this root is inner part of the tooth and it is embedded into the socket of the jawbone. Embedded into the socket of jawbone. It is helped by to the periodontal membrane. Helped by to the which membrane? Periodontal membrane. The root is embedded into the socket of jawbone. It is helped by to the membrane name is periodontal membrane. Periodontal membrane. Now the root is covered by to the name is a gum. The root is covered by to the gums. The total root is covered by to the gum. It is a structure of tooth. So the structure of tooth has to the 3 parts, namely crown, neck and root. Crown is the exposed part of the tooth and the neck is the middle part of the tooth and root is the inner part of the tooth. The total tooth is formed by the hard material name is dentin. In this dentin is secreted by the cells name is odontoblast cells. Odontoblast cells. It is derived from the which organs? It is derived from the mesodermal organs. In this dentin is covered by to the enamel. It is the hardest substances in our body. In this enamel is secreted by to the which cells? It is ameloblast cells. It is ameloblast cells. In this ameloblast cells is derived from the which organs? Ectodermal organs. Now the inner part of the tooth there is present to the cavities. In this cavities like as a pulp cavity. The total filled with pulp. Pulp like a odontoblast, nerve cells and blood vessels. These are totally filled with the pulp cavity. And the root is embedded into the socket of jawbone. It is helped by to the which membrane? Periodontal membrane. And the root is totally covered by to the gums. It is the structure of tooth. Remaining class continue to the tomorrow.